In the heart of Windhoek, where the pulse of Namibia's modern life beats loudest, Yvonne and Dimba's story unfolded like an intricate dance of fate. Yvonne, a woman whose luminous beauty was only rivaled by her quiet resilience, was shaped by a home steeped in tradition, where love was sacred and marriage a bond forged to endure all storms. Dimba, magnetic and driven, was captivated by her elegance and unshakable grace. Their romance grew like wildflowers after the rain, vibrant and full of promise, until it matured into the vows of marriage. In Katutura, a suburb alive with unyielding spirit and camaraderie, they crafted a life of shared dreams. Yvonne devoted herself to their young son, Kuntu, and to supporting Dimba's climb in the competitive world of corporate finance. Their modest home overflowed with laughter, ambition, and love, an image of perfection. Yet, beneath the surface of this idyllic existence, unseen forces began to stir, threatening to unravel the life Yvonne had poured her soul into creating. Before we dive deeper, please hit the subscribe button, give it a like, share with friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments section below. Your support means the world to me. Thank you. Dimba's career took a meteoric rise as he secured a coveted position in one of Namibia's leading corporations. With his sharp intellect and unrelenting drive, he quickly climbed the ranks, becoming a respected figure in the business world. The newfound success brought a lifestyle that was a far cry from the humble beginnings he shared with Yvonne. Expensive suits replaced his simple wardrobe, luxury cars lined their driveway, and invitations to high-profile events became a regular occurrence. Yvonne, ever supportive, celebrated his achievements with pride, believing their shared dreams were finally within reach. But the glittering world of corporate success came with its own temptations. Dimba found himself drawn to the allure of power, flattery, and the company of those who fawned over his status. The late nights at work, once a symbol of his dedication, became increasingly frequent. Yvonne's gentle inquiries were met with dismissive reassurances as Dimba's heart slowly drifted from the woman who had been his anchor. Amidst the dazzle of his new life, Dimba began to lose sight of the values that had once grounded him, setting the stage for a storm that would soon engulf their lives. As Dimba's absences grew more frequent, Yvonne's heart grew heavy with worry. She noticed the subtle changes, the way he avoided her gaze, the unfamiliar cologne that clung to his suits, and the whispered phone calls that ended abruptly when she entered the room. Determined to protect her family, Yvonne chose to confront him with grace and patience, hoping to rekindle the love they once shared. But Dimba, intoxicated by his newfound freedom and the attention of other women, dismissed her concerns as paranoia. He accused her of being ungrateful and controlling, planting seeds of doubt in her heart. For the first time, their home, once a haven of love and trust, was shadowed by tension and mistrust. Little Kuntu, sensing the discord, clung to his mother, his innocent eyes searching for answers. Yvonne's nights became a silent prayer for strength and guidance as she grappled with the painful realization that the man she loved was slipping away. Despite her heartbreak, she resolved to stand firm, believing that her unwavering faithfulness could heal the cracks in their foundation. The day Yvonne's world came crashing down began like any other. As she sorted through a pile of laundry, her fingers brushed against an unfamiliar item, a receipt for a lavish dinner at a restaurant she had never been to. The name scrawled across the bottom, a woman's signature, confirmed her worst fears. Her heart pounded as she pieced together the evidence of Dimba's betrayal. That evening, when he returned home, she confronted him with the receipt, her voice trembling but resolute. Dimba's initial denial gave way to anger as he accused her of snooping and overreacting. The argument that followed was a storm of hurtful words and shattered trust. For Yvonne, the betrayal was not just an affair but a violation of the sacred covenant they had vowed to uphold. Dimba, blinded by arrogance, refused to acknowledge the depth of his wrongdoing, leaving Yvonne to grapple with the pain alone. As the door slammed behind him, signaling his departure, Yvonne held Kuntu close, vowing to protect her son from the storm threatening to consume their family. Dimba's descent into infidelity and excess was swift and relentless. The life he had built with Yvonne became a distant memory as he indulged in a world of fleeting pleasures and hollow victories. But as quickly as fortune had favored him, it turned its back. A series of poor decisions at work, fueled by arrogance and complacency, led to his downfall. He was abruptly terminated, his reputation tarnished, and his once loyal allies vanished. Stripped of his wealth and status, Dimba found himself alone in a small, dingy apartment on the outskirts of Windhoek, a stark contrast to the life he had forsaken. The echoes of his laughter with Yvonne and the innocent giggles of Kuntu haunted him, a painful reminder of the love he had squandered. In his solitude, Dimba began to confront the gravity of his choices, the pain he had inflicted on the woman who had stood by him through thick and thin. With nothing left but regret and the faint hope of redemption, he resolved to seek forgiveness and rebuild the life he had so carelessly destroyed. Please don't forget to subscribe to Ubuntu Folktales, like, share and drop a comment in the comments section below. Thank you so much. Dimba's days in the cramped apartment were marked by a silence that magnified his regrets. He spent hours replaying memories of Yvonne and Kuntu, each one a reminder of the love he had abandoned. The walls of his apartment bore witness to his anguish as he grappled with the realization that his fall from grace was not merely due to bad luck but the result of his own hubris. Nights were the hardest, sleep eluded him as he stared at the ceiling, haunted by visions of Yvonne's tear-streaked face. In the solitude, he began to reflect on the values he had forsaken, the humility taught by his parents, the joy of simple moments with his family, and the sacred vows he had shattered. Dimba's reflections stirred something within him, a resolve to make amends. He realized that redemption would not come easily, but the thought of Yvonne and Kuntu gave him the strength to take the first step. With trembling hands, he drafted a heartfelt letter to Yvonne, apologizing for his actions and expressing his desire to rebuild the trust he had broken. It was a small gesture, but for Dimba, it was the beginning of a long journey toward redemption. Yvonne, meanwhile, had begun to rebuild her life. The betrayal had left her heartbroken, but her strength and resilience shone through. She leaned on the support of her close-knit community in Katutura, where neighbors and friends rallied around her, offering comfort and encouragement. Determined to provide stability for Kuntu, Yvonne found a job at a local NGO, where her kindness and dedication quickly earned her respect. The work became a source of empowerment, allowing her to rediscover her sense of purpose. Despite the pain Dimba had caused, Yvonne's love for him lingered, but she was no longer the woman who would wait passively for his return. She began to explore new interests, taking evening classes in community development and spending weekends with Kuntu, creating memories that were theirs alone. Yvonne's transformation was not without its struggles. There were nights when loneliness crept in, and the weight of single parenthood felt overwhelming. But through it all, she found solace in her faith and the unbreakable bond she shared with her son. As Yvonne charted her new path, she held on to the belief that her journey, though marked by pain, was leading her toward healing and growth. One sunny afternoon, as Yvonne walked through Independence Avenue after a meeting at the NGO, she spotted a familiar figure sitting on a bench. It was Dimba, his once confident demeanor replaced by a look of weariness and humility. Their eyes met, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. Dimba rose hesitantly, clutching the letter he had written but never sent. Yvonne's heart raced as she approached him, torn between the memories of their shared past and the pain of his betrayal. Dimba's voice was soft as he greeted her, his words laced with regret. He handed her the letter, explaining that he had been reflecting on his mistakes and was determined to make amends. Yvonne listened quietly, her emotions a whirlwind of anger, sadness, and a faint glimmer of hope. She took the letter but made no promises, telling Dimba that forgiveness was not something she could grant easily. As she walked away, the weight of the encounter lingered, leaving both of them to ponder the possibilities of reconciliation and the work it would take to rebuild what was lost. Yvonne spent days grappling with the contents of Dimba's letter. His words were filled with remorse, detailing his regrets and his longing to be a better man for her and Kuntu. Yet, the scars of his betrayal were deep, and forgiveness felt like an insurmountable mountain. She sought counsel from her pastor and trusted friends, who reminded her that forgiveness was not about condoning the wrongdoing but about freeing herself from the burden of anger. Yvonne wrestled with conflicting emotions, torn between the love she still felt for Dimba and the fear of being hurt again. One evening, as she watched Kuntu play with his toys, she realized that her decisions would shape not only her future but also her son's. Yvonne began to pray for clarity and strength, seeking guidance on whether to open the door to reconciliation or to close that chapter of her life for good. The weight of forgiveness was heavy, but Yvonne knew that whatever path she chose, it had to be one that honored her newfound strength and the values she held dear. Dimba, having encountered Yvonne, felt a renewed sense of purpose. He understood that regaining her trust would require more than words. It would take consistent actions and a complete transformation of his character. He began volunteering at a local community center, mentoring young men and sharing the lessons he had learned from his mistakes. The experience humbled him further and reignited his passion for meaningful work. Dimba also sought therapy, confronting the root causes of his behavior and learning how to rebuild healthy relationships. Each step he took was a testament to his commitment to change, but he knew the ultimate test lay in Yvonne's willingness to see his efforts. Meanwhile, he maintained a respectful distance, sending occasional updates about his progress to Yvonne through mutual friends. Though the journey was arduous, Dimba found solace in the belief that redemption was possible, not just for Yvonne's forgiveness but for his own peace of mind. His actions began to ripple through the community, inspiring others who had faltered to seek their own paths to redemption. In his heart, Dimba held on to the hope that one day, Yvonne might see the man he was striving to become. Months passed, and Dimba's consistent efforts began to draw the attention of the community, including Yvonne. Word of his volunteer work and personal growth reached her, painting a picture of a man genuinely striving to change. Yvonne, still wary but curious, decided to observe him from a distance. She attended one of his community talks, blending into the crowd as he spoke passionately about resilience, accountability, and the importance of family. Seeing him in this new light stirred a mix of emotions within her, pride in his transformation and apprehension about whether it could last. After the event, Dimba noticed her and approached cautiously. Their conversation was tentative but heartfelt, with Dimba expressing gratitude for the chance to make amends and asking for nothing more than the opportunity to prove himself. Yvonne, moved by his humility, agreed to meet occasionally, not as husband and wife but as co-parents working toward a better future for Kuntu. However, even as she opened the door to possibility, a lingering unease reminded her that trust, once broken, could not be mended overnight. Yvonne invited Dimba to join her and Kuntu for a day at the zoo, a gesture that signified her willingness to test the waters of their renewed connection. Kuntu, overjoyed to have both parents together, clung to his father, his innocent love offering a glimpse of what they had lost. The day was filled with laughter, memories, and moments of quiet reflection. Yvonne watched as Dimba interacted with their son, his genuine effort to rebuild their bond evident in every gesture. Later that evening, as they sat under the Namibian sky, Dimba shared more about his journey of self-discovery and the steps he had taken to become a better man. But as Yvonne listened, doubts crept into her heart. Could the man who once shattered her trust truly change, or was she merely setting herself up for another heartbreak? These thoughts haunted her as she walked home, the lines between hope and caution becoming increasingly blurred. The day, though meaningful, left her uncertain if their fractured bond could ever truly heal. The uncertain journey of possible reconciliation between Yvonne and Dimba became a source of reflection and inspiration for their community. Neighbors who had witnessed their struggles rallied around them, offering support and encouragement. Yvonne's friends, who had initially urged her to move on, now saw the strength it took to consider forgiveness and stood by her decision, whatever it might be. Dimba's colleagues from the community center celebrated his transformation, often sharing stories of his impact on troubled youth. Yet amidst the praise and support, Yvonne remained guarded. A late-night conversation with her closest friend revealed her deepest fears. Was she sacrificing her dignity for the sake of appearances? Or was she brave enough to rewrite their story on her terms? The conflicting voices around her only deepened her uncertainty. As these questions lingered, Yvonne resolved to take things slowly, allowing herself the grace to heal while keeping the door ajar for what could be, but never fully stepping through. As Yvonne and Dimba worked to rebuild their relationship, new challenges emerged. Dimba struggled to balance his volunteer work with the demands of reconnecting with his family, while Yvonne grappled with the fear of history repeating itself. They faced moments of doubt and frustration, but their commitment to open communication and shared goals kept them grounded, for now. Kuntu, too, played a pivotal role, his innocent joy serving as a constant reminder of what they were working toward. One evening, as they sat together reviewing plans for an upcoming workshop, Yvonne shared her lingering fears with Dimba. Instead of dismissing her concerns, he listened intently, acknowledging the pain he had caused and reaffirming his commitment to earning her trust. But just as they seemed to be turning a corner, an unexpected call from one of Dimba's past colleagues unsettled Yvonne. The call, though seemingly innocent, raised old insecurities in Yvonne. Her mind raced. Was this a test of their fragile reconciliation, or a sign that some wounds were too deep to heal? She began questioning whether a future with Dimba was worth risking her newfound sense of self-worth. Under the warm glow of a Namibian sunset, Yvonne sat alone on her veranda, watching Kuntu play in the garden. Dimba had left moments ago, after another attempt to assure her of his transformation. While Yvonne could see the change in his actions and demeanor, a part of her heart remained unconvinced. The scars of betrayal were not easily erased, and she was unwilling to rush a decision that would shape both her and Kuntu's future. She thought back to their shared moments of laughter and progress, balanced against the weight of uncertainty. Could she ever fully trust him again? That evening, as she tucked Kuntu into bed, her son's innocent question lingered in her mind: will Daddy live with us again someday? Yvonne had no answer, only a quiet resolve to let time and her own healing guide her path. As the stars lit up the Namibian sky, Yvonne whispered a silent prayer, not for reconciliation, but for clarity and strength to face whatever choices lay ahead. Their story was far from over, but for now, Yvonne stood firm in her resolve to prioritize herself and her son. A new chapter awaited, but it would be written on her terms, and only when she was ready. The future remained uncertain, a poignant reminder that not all stories conclude neatly, leaving viewers yearning for what might come next. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button, share it with someone, like the video, and tell me about your thoughts in the comments section. Your support fuels this journey. Thank you.